What is up, guys? Rick Kakis here. Thank you so much for stopping by, and today, do you know people actually complain about the length of that intro? I mean, what did that take? 10 seconds? And then they'll listen to a 60-second Raid Shadow Legends ad. I mean, it's long now because I'm complaining about it, but in any event, today we are going to be going over everything you need to know for how to prepare for the Beyond Light expansion in Destiny 2. If you do all or some of these tips, you're going to gain a significant advantage, a head start, when the Beyond Light expansion launches. And so, let's get started. Now, at number 1 is something I've put there because I don't see nearly enough people talking about this, and that is change your loadouts. In terms of weapons, take your mountaintop, put it in the vault. Take your recluse, put it in the vault. And the reason being is because you should only be using, at this point forward, non-sunsetting weapons. If you use the mountaintop up until the day before Beyond Light launches, as soon as the new expansion comes out, you're going to be scrambling for guns to replace it. You're going to be scrambling for what to use. Okay, you have a great, energy sniper to use maybe, but then you don't know what kinetic primary to use. It's going to be problematic, especially if Beyond Light launches and you're pushing that higher level content. If you're trying to do a Nightfall and you have no idea what guns to use, that's going to be a problem. So just get used to the new meta, start using non-sunsetting weapons. And that goes for armor as well, in terms of you should be taking armaments off of all of your armor if you have them, and taking barrier and all of that stuff, because those won't be relevant either. But let's move on from there and talk about bounty prep. Now, most people know about bounty prep, but there's actually a few caveats, especially this time, that not a lot of people are mentioning. So, bounty prep, in essence, is doing bounties and not turning them in. So you have a full inventory of completed bounties, and then when Beyond Light launches, then you complete them all, you hand them all in, you gain a ton of experience right off the bat, and this is going to let you not only gain bonus light levels faster for your artifact, but also it's going to allow you to level up your Season's Pass faster and unlock mods for your artifact sooner. So it's very advantageous. It should be noted that it's not as important this year because your artifact light level won't be counted for the day 1 raid. But for a lot of other activities, it's still very important. So, what kind of bounties should you be saving? Well, firstly, the experience hierarchy goes like this. Weekly bounties are the best, they're followed by daily bounties, and then lastly, it's repeatable bounties. So you want to prioritize weekly bounties, but it's not that simple. You actually want to prioritize weekly bounties of Group A or relevant activities. So these include things like the following: Strikes, Crucible, Gambit, Moon weekly bounties actually, Clan bounties, Trials bounties, and Gunsmith bounties, with a caveat we'll talk about in a sec. It does not apply to all weekly activities. The best example is Petra on the Dreaming City. If you load up your inventory with bounties from her, even her weekly bounties, they aren't going to give as much experience as like a Strike weekly bounty, as one of those keystone activities that I mentioned in that list. So that list, and especially weekly bounties from that list, is what you want to prioritize. If you can't fill your inventory with all weekly bounties, then move down to that second hierarchy of daily bounties, right? But with that being said, Crucible, Gambit, and Gunsmith all had asterisks by them for a reason, because Bungie actually gave some new information on how bounty prepping would work. They say, as you can see, that most of your bounties will stay intact. However, stuff related to activities going away, so Black Armory is going away, Black Armory bounties will go away, they'll be taken out of your inventory as well. And this may work with the Gunsmith. Gunsmith bounties sometimes take place on certain planets where you calibrate them on, for example, Mercury. So if Mercury goes away, potentially that Gunsmith bounty will go away as well. So don't prioritize the Gunsmith bounties that are taking place on planets that are disappearing with Beyond Light. But They also mention that bounties that reward infamy and valor are going to give you old rewards. So how that's going to work is as follows. If you spam a bunch of Gambit bounties that you've saved up, the next time you reach a sub-rank or a rank in Gambit, the rewards are going to be from Season of Arrivals. So they won't be powerful, and if they refresh those vendors with new loot, you won't get that new loot. Obviously, that's a big downside. However, you are still going to get the experience from them. So if you're willing to not get rewards from like 1 or 2 rank ups and instead get that advantage in experience, you can prep them anyways. Or you can simply hang on to them until after you've reached the max rank of Valor and Infamy. You don't have to, in fact you shouldn't, pop all your bounties the second Beyond Light launches because you want to, well, go out and get the artifact first off anyways. So that means you can just hold on to them in your inventory even longer. Then when you get to the max rank, you pop them all. There's no rewards at stake anyways, and then you get the advantages of the extra XP. So that's all the current information and most up-to-date information on bounty prepping. Moving on from there, another big tip here, tip number 3 I guess, leave exotics either in your postmaster or in your season's pass. If you aren't done your season's pass, or if you haven't collected exotics in your season's pass, do not collect them before Beyond Light launches. And the reason being is because in previous seasons, you were actually able to extract these exotic engrams via the website. Like you can actually go to the Bungie website and view the previous season's pass. So right now it's Season of Arrivals. You can actually go still and get loot from the Season of Worthy season pass. And when you did this and you withdrew exotic engrams via the website from a previous season, they would actually decrypt into new exotics for the season you're in, right? So that's actually how I got all 3 of the Season of the Worthy exotics in the first day it came out. I just extracted my old exotic engrams from Season of Dawn, and boom, they turned into the new Season of Worthy exotics. Now, it's possible it's not going to work like that with Beyond Light, but if it does, that's a huge advantage. So definitely do that. And it does work the same for Postmaster, where if you leave an engram in the Postmaster, new season starts, you withdraw it, you can get a new exotic. So that as well might work. Moving on from there, you want to stock up on resources, but it's a little bit different this time around. Again, firstly because of planets disappearing. So make sure that you're visiting Spider and you are stocking up on useful resources like, for example, Dark Light Shards for the EDZ, because the EDZ isn't going anywhere. It's still going to be viable. But something like Simulation Seeds from Mercury, you don't want to stock up on that because those resources are going to be likely disappearing. But it also means that, normally if you went to the Spider, wouldn't want to turn your resources into Glimmer or Legendary Shards or whatever, but now you kind of want to get rid of those Simulation Seeds and those resources from the planets that are disappearing. So if Spider is selling shards for Simulation Seeds, or again, other resources that are going away, definitely take advantage of that. But continuing with resources, another great idea is to stock up on Crucible and Vanguard tokens. Those activities are obviously staying, and it can help you increase your level, especially if there's a soft cap, which means that pretty much anything, even blues, will advance your light level up to a certain point. And it's likely going to be that we pretty much get a soft cap raise every single big expansion, and Beyond Light will likely be no different. And that means if you have enough Vanguard tokens, for example, you can literally just log on, go to Zavala and spam tokens and level up all the way to that soft cap, and then you start doing the powerful gear chase, right? And if you don't do that, if you get powerful gear before you hit the soft cap, it's kind of wasted. So that's another big tip. But lastly, for resources, You probably have, you know, a lot of glimmer right now because you're not really spending it on anything, but who knows, there may be some very expensive things in Beyond Light, and you tend to go through your resources pretty darn quickly when a new expansion comes out. So the best thing to do to stock up and store glimmer is to fill your inventory with exotic cosmetics. So a bunch of exotic ghost shells, a bunch of exotic sparrows, whatever, even duplicates, and specifically for sparrows, you want to have all other side sparrows, specifically the other side. Now the reason for this is because, as you can see, it costs 7,500 glimmer and 5 legendary shards. And then when I dismantle it, I get 5,000 glimmer back and, importantly, 5 legendary shards. So I'm kind of neutral on legendary shards. I'm not wasting any. So what this lets you do is you can go into Beyond Light with an inventory full of other side sparrows and other exotics and full glimmer, and then you can just spend your glimmer willy-nilly, doesn't really matter, and as soon as you run out, you dismantle all those other side sparrows and your other exotics that you can just withdraw at any time. It's not like they're going away forever, and then you get a big cache of glimmer. So that's another important thing to do. Moving on from there, our next tip here is to complete the exotic quests before they go away. And here is actually a list of all of the exotic quests that are disappearing when Beyond Light launches. Now, are these exotics going away? No. They may turn up in different capacities. Likely they'll be put into the exotic loot pool, but that means they're going to be pretty difficult to get, whereas right now you can guaranteed get them via an exotic quest. Also, especially for the Whisper of the Worm and the Outbreak Prime, prioritize those right now, because at the time I'm putting out this video, there's still 3 weeks remaining. You'll have exactly enough time to get those exotics, and then once each week you can do the quest step towards getting their exotic catalysts as well. If you wait and get them in the last week, you can get them, but you won't be able to get their catalysts. But moving on from there, the next tip I have is to buy literally every single mod from the Prismatic Recaster or the Gunsmith that you possibly can before Beyond Light. If you see any sort of Warmind mod, if you see any sort of Charge with Light mod, pick those up, because they're often extremely powerful and they're actually getting a lot better because of how the armor system is changing. We'll talk about that in just a sec, but don't miss out on those. Again, some of those are absolutely game changers and really powerful parts of a lot of different loadouts. So definitely pick those up while you can. But moving on from there, the last tip I have here, guys, is to clear out your inventory and your vault, because that's going to be a very important step. You do not want to go into Beyond Light with a full vault and a full inventory, because that means instead of spending your time grinding and playing the new content, you're going to be spending your time figuring out what to delete. So do that now, and importantly, very importantly, you actually have a huge advantage in doing this, because Bungie is changing the armor system dramatically. So a lot of your armor can actually get deleted, because firstly, they're eliminating the requirements, the energy requirements of different mods. So hand cannon stuff right now is only on Void armor. Now it's going to be available on any element of armor. Now, additionally, the seasonal mod slot is getting a huge overhaul. When Beyond Light comes out, there's not going to be a Season of Dawn mod slot and a Season of Worthy mod slot. Everything from Season of Dawn, Season of Worthy, and Season of Arrivals will kind of all be combined and have a combat mod slot, which can equip any Charge with Light or Warmind Cell mod. So that means you can essentially boil it down to only needing 3 pieces of armor from essentially any time this year, but obviously the more recent the better. Like if it's from Season of Arrivals, it has the highest infusion cap, and the different elements are still needed for these different combat mods essentially. But yeah, you really don't need a Void Season of Dawn armor piece and a Void Season of Arrivals armor piece, because those are conglomerating into one thing. And then if you want to go a little bit further than that, you would want 3 armor pieces from Shadowkeep backwards, because those are all getting 1 legacy mod slot. So that mod slot can equip stuff like the Nightmare Hunt mods and a few other things, but even then that's not super necessary. So you can again clear a bunch of space in your armor slots. And so guys, that is it for the video. I hope you enjoyed, found this informative, and if you did, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. If you guys want to see more Destiny 2 content similar to this, don't be afraid to slap that subscribe button. If you want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter at @RickCacus. That's linked in the description down below. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.